Happy beautiful day. It's episode 181 of the My 365 podcast series. Now, I don't know about you, but one of the things I'm passionate about is the youth. Sorry, the youth, not the ute. The youth of today. And I've been really fortunate to be a part of many people's lives. I love to help people, but I'm really passionate about helping the next generation of human beings. It sounds corny, but they are our future. And I'm delighted today that I'm going to be interviewing someone I've had the pleasure of working with. His name is Mr. Dan Jukes. Get ready for another game-changing podcast. Happy beautiful day. It's episode 181 and I'm with a colleague of mine, Mr. Dan Jukes. Dan, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, well, listen, it is an opportunity, and I was kind of concerned before filming this. Not that we're filming it, we're recording it, because one of the subjects that we're going to be talking about, which seems to be a taboo subject, and I just think more and more people need to be having the conversation. I think there are many things people should be having conversations about. One of them should be about how they feel. I think people don't do that enough, especially men. You know, I think that's why there's so many mental health problems. And another one of those subjects which we're going to talk about in a while. But Dan, tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all.
So obviously, my name is Dan Jukes. I'm 25 years old. My passion, like yourself, is just to make a difference in the world in whatever way I can. Business was not initially my passion, and not something that I ever saw myself doing, but situations have led me that way, and now I'm privileged to spend time with people like yourself and build businesses around the world and impact people.
Yeah, so obviously before I knew you, let's go back a bit, Dan, and tell us a little bit about how Mr. Dan Jukes felt when how far back should we go? But when I first met you, how would you describe how you felt about where you were?
So we're probably talking 2 or 3 years ago. So 2 or 3 years ago, I feel like I was kind of on the journey and definitely on the up at that point. But definitely before then, I lacked a lot in my life. So I lacked a lot of purpose. I'd been going in a direction in which I felt as though I had to go rather than where I actually wanted to go. Mm-hmm. And the pressures, what you're probably covering, impacted that. But definitely when I met you, I was on the rise, and I was very blessed to meet you, because since then you've been able to help me completely transform the way I feel, and definitely my confidence.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when we first met, I definitely wasn't the person I am today, of course, but I was on the tipping point, on the rise, due to obviously the business that we got involved in.
So it's interesting, often when I do podcasts, I don't always know what I'm going to talk about, what's going to come up, but something just come up for me when you just said that, which is about mentorship, which again is one of those, I think it's a bit of a taboo subject. More people should talk about that. And I had a mentor. The first mentor I had was when I was 17, and it was amazing because at that time I didn't feel comfortable doing what all my mates were doing, which was going out drinking every Friday, Saturday night. Everything was always the same, and I always felt like there must be more to life than this. And then someone came into my life who basically just showed me there was a different way. You don't have to conform. You can do anything you want, and he just opened up a completely different world. Well, he didn't open it. He showed me a door, and I suppose that's part of maybe what I've been able to do with you. So talk to me about some of the aspirations, because you were a footballer, right? You wanted to be a footballer.
Once.
What was your first ever kind of burning desire of what you wanted to do?
It was football. It was all I knew. I was kicking a ball, as long as I can remember, and that's all I really ever thought about. All I ever spoke about, all I ever did was just football. And like everyone at one point, I really did believe that was going to happen. That was where I was going.
So, yeah, and then what happened?
So, I was always struggled with my own thoughts. Yeah. My mind always controlled me, and it could always easily talk me out of certain things and get me into a negative spiral. So, when I was a youngster, technically, although I was pretty decent, I just couldn't get control of my mind, and I was always the shy one, the quiet one.
Yeah.
And I just carried on that direction. And youth football, especially in this country, they like to see outgoing, loud, kids. So that's where it started. And then, I got released from certain clubs, and I never really came back from that. I really had a challenge with coming back, getting back up when I'd been knocked down. That was always the case. Even through school, I'd always fall just short of my grades. I would always, I'd carry that through everything I did.
So definitely taboo subjects, mentorship, which that shouldn't be taboo. Mental health, you obviously had some, even that word, mental health, it makes it sound like there must be something wrong with you. But we've all got mental health challenges, right? Mm-hmm. So you didn't make it as a football player. Then what? What did you then do?
Well, that's when I became pretty stuck. And over the years, it just got progressively worse. And then I hit a point, so, I continued my studies, or tried to, and I just somehow scraped it. Things just about got through into sixth form, just about got into university, and that's where, what I thought was the dream, because I was the first one in the family and stuff like that. And then, I really had one day I just woke up and just realised, like, what am I actually doing? And I was just drowned in my own mind, negative thoughts, just lost.
You had another voice saying to you, "What are you doing?"
Exactly, yeah. So that was the,
fascinating.
Was the day when I sort of had enough, because I was struggling. I was in, anxiety, depression, all of those kind of things. And as you said, I was doing the things that a young boy should do or does do, going out, clubbing, drinking. But it got to a point where it wasn't fulfilling me anymore. Yeah. And at first I thought that was a real problem. Like, why am I not fitting in? But then that's when I later on discovered that obviously I've got a calling to do something else.
Yeah, so, what do you think that calling is?
To change the world, to make the world a better place, to influence people, to be a light in someone's darkness. Like that was, and I think that comes from my mum as well, because she's always been such a great person and always just giving relentlessly, even when sometimes, it can backfire.
I think we've just touched another taboo subject, right? Which is talking about making a difference in this world, and more people should be talking about that. And it's so refreshing to hear a young man saying that. I wouldn't have said that at 25, maybe in my 30s, but I hadn't worked that out yet, And so, how did you go from there? You went to university, right?
Yeah.
What was that like for you? Was that good?
Tough. It was tough because I was really, really uncomfortable with meeting new people, but I had no choice. And, even people to this day that went to my university would never know, but it felt like I was living kind of two lives, because, I was struggling with this voice in my head, but when I was out with the boys and stuff like that, I was like the joker. So I was like trying to, make a laugh, trying to be...
Something
trying
that
to
you
fit
weren't.
in. Yeah, trying to fit in, I suppose. And then that's just really draining. And for people that are probably listening right now and feeling how I was feeling back then, it is draining pretending that you're okay.
You're not being yourself, right? It is draining, isn't it?
Mm.
It's like just putting on an act. One of the things when you were saying that, a lot of the people who follow me, I talk about, the duck in your head that quacks away.
Mm.
But then there's another part of the head, which the Romans called the genius, that is the part of you that wakes you up and goes, what are you doing? And you need to do this and you need to do that. And that constant battle that most of us have in our life, but you really seem to have risen above your negativity. And when I first saw you present, I was impressed, because I was aware when you told me that your biggest fear, tell us about your biggest fear.
My biggest fear was just speaking to any stranger.
I shouldn't laugh, because I thought you were going to say, in public, but you were talking about anyone.
It was kind of funny, because especially a couple of my really close friends and, family, even if we were going somewhere like, I don't know, going to a pub.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, can you go and ask for the drinks?
Yeah.
Or can you go and ask someone where the toilet is? And I think we spoke about earlier about rejection. That was a big problem for me, because I'd faced so much rejection in my past, and it just accumulated.
It hurts.
And a lot of different scenarios, with friendships, with relationships, with football, with career, with school. So, that was the big... So, public speaking was something that I just never it wasn't even a fear because I hadn't got that far. I couldn't actually see myself ever even doing that. So my biggest fear at that point was just strangers.
Yeah, we were talking just before we did this about rejection and how much rejection hurts and why it hurts. And it's the scientists say that rejection hurts because it was a feeling that you wanted to have if you felt you were going to be kicked out of a tribe. Because we live and survive together. We're not very good on our own, which is another thing which I think we often don't talk about, how we need each other to help each other and build each other. And when I saw you start to present, I remember just pointing to and talking to a few people going, my God, this is incredible. Look at this person who was so frightened is now up here owning this stage, talking. What was that like when you first started realizing that you were getting people's attention and you turned your fear in? What did you turn your fear into?
Excitement.
Yeah.
I was
powerful.
I was very, very, I can't even put it into words how shocked I was that I impacted people in the way that I did, that people were telling me.
Yeah.
So I remember, because, having said that, when I did start this business, the business that we're involved in, one of the reasons why I did get involved because I saw the person speaking and I thought, wow, I would love to be that guy, because how he's making me feel right now is how I want to make other people feel. So I remember when I did my first presentation, or maybe second or third, I was shaking. But what people were telling me, how it made them feel after, that fired me up and made me want to do it again, no matter how scared it made me feel. That fired me up. And from then it's just been like, this is what I want to do every day.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think that's inside everyone, right? The desire and the passion in every person to do more, be more and grow. But so many people just settle for what they have. Why do you think that is? Why do you think people settle for a life of, I don't know, mediocrity, unhappiness, just kind of existing as opposed to really living? What's your opinion on that?
I mean, I just think it's just easy to do that. It's easy just to go through. It's easy.
Yeah.
And it's like we say, comfortable.
But do you think deep down, even in though that deep down people know that there's more?
100%. But most people, they say through inspiration or desperation. So for me, I feel like times got so bad that I just had to change. So I'm grateful for all of the things that went wrong and all of the challenges that I faced. But yeah, people just stay comfortable, I think, because it's easy.
But now for you don't need desperation, because I think where we're quite alike now is that we're more inspired about where we're going and the impact and the difference that we want to make. And I think so many people we only get to see the best in people, right, when really bad things happen, a disaster happens, and all of a sudden people rise up. But one of our goals is to get people to rise up now about what's possible. So let's talk about that other taboo subject. And this is why I was, concerned about talking about it, because it's another one of those subjects that when you start talking about it, people just have a perception of what it is. And it's the industry of network marketing, because that's obviously how we got to work together. Now, I never in my wildest dreams ever would have imagined working myself in an industry where you're selling products, because I wasn't interested in selling anything. I was mainly because didn't see myself as someone who sold things, but also because I'm really insecure, or I wasn't really insecure about the idea of trying to sell you something and you rejecting me. Plus the fact that our products are tea and coffee. I didn't even drink tea and coffee, but that's how I never saw that. And now have built this empire of people around the world. And it's incredible because I get to work with people like you. What was your opinion about the industry of network marketing at the beginning?
I don't really have one, if I'm perfectly honest, because I'd never heard of the industry. I mean, when I heard of companies, then I could familiarize them, but I didn't understand that those companies were network marketing, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I didn't really have an opinion on it.
Yes.
At that point.
See, my opinion it's so fascinating. I'm glad we can have this conversation, and I'm sure people will listen to this. See, everything means something to someone, and we love to put things into boxes. So, if I put my hand out to shake your hand, you'll shake my hand because that's what we've been told that it is. For me, network marketing, I just remember growing up and hearing someone, people talking about it and having a garage full of soap and pyramids and people taking advantage of you. And so that's what I thought it was. But then I remember there's a company called Forever Living which does aloe vera products, and I had some clients who had some really bad irritable bowels, and someone told me, well, you should try this. So I bought some because I was desperate to help these people, and both of them, their pain just went. So I thought, well, I still didn't want to join the business because I don't want to try and sell someone aloe vera, but I could understand why people would. But what's your opinion about it now?
My opinion is that it's the greatest business model there is. It's the greatest education system that there is, and it's the greatest confidence building and mentorship. You know, practicing mentorship and leadership program that you could get all in one. It's unbelievable, and I think the reason why people don't like it is because they don't know what they're talking about, and that's plain and simple. People think they know everything.
Yeah.
Often the people that know the least think they know more, you know, and that's in everyday life. I think that's just what happens. But for me, all I can speak about is my experience, and everything that I have and everything that I am today is because of this industry. So that's my evidence.
Yeah, and I really like that. I mean, for me, my evidence has been, well, for those people who don't know, I only came across this industry because, well, actually, I'd spoken I'm a speaker, right? I'm a coach. I've spoken, you know, all over the place, and I've spoken for some network marketing companies, and thousands of people in the room who all seem to love what's going on. But I suppose, like any business, a lot of those people might not be there in a year's time or 2 years' time, because ultimately it's still work. And I think we have so many people in the world today that have that job mentality. They just want to go to work, even though deep down they probably all, I think there's not in all of us maybe, but there's an entrepreneur in most of us, and people are looking for opportunities. We were with Richard Branson a few years ago, and he publicly said, network marketing is the industry of the future, because entrepreneurial people can join these organizations with no risk, no massive investment, a couple £100, they can trade, they can build. But like you say, it's very easy to pigeonhole things and to say, oh, this is this, when it's really not that at all. And as for me, I came across this. My wife had a brain tumor. I was looking for a solution. I had a coach. My coach called me. I called him. Sorry, asked him what I should do, and he said, find people that are still alive and find out why. And then he asked, what's she going to do when she gets better? And I was going, well, she's only been given 18 months to live. And then he just said, well, so what? People defy the odds. Everyone defies the odds if we want to defy the odds. So then we went to America, where I found a treatment which cost every bit of money that we had. And I'm a big believer in nutrition. And we went to see one of the best nutritionists in the world, Dr. Rakowski, who, this is the 181st podcast that I've done, 181. And I believe the first one I did was with Dr. Bob. And I didn't know him. I only met him through adversity. But a year and a half after meeting him, because he put my wife on a diet and supplements, and he was the one who said, look, if you drink coffee, drink this. I didn't drink coffee, so I wasn't interested at all. I tried it, I thought it was all right. My wife liked the coffee. We went back to the UK, and I never forget the day. He called me up. I was at my parents' house. He called me up, and he asked me to join Organo. And I said, that's that coffee, isn't it? Now, I'm a bit gullible. If someone's excited about something, I just go, yes. But most people don't do that. But I also thought, oh my God, I get a chance to work with one of the greatest nutritionists in the world. He's had 30 athletes at the London Olympics, 20 athletes in another Olympics. He's worked with incredible people. I want to work with him. Went and told my parents, and my dad said immediately, you don't drink coffee. And then I actually thought, oh yeah, I don't. But then I've been drinking it for 6 years. I've not had a cough. I've not had a cold. Not because of the coffee, but because of what's in it. If the coffee didn't have our superfood in it, would you be doing it?
Well, I mean, like, this was the first coffee I'd ever drunk in my life anyway. So, no.
Yeah,
it's the only reason why I drink the product is because I know what it does for my system.
Yeah, and you know, again, it's like people say to me, what is it that you're most passionate about? I'm most passionate about inspiration, and to be inspired is because you're breathing life into something. And I believe that since I've been drinking this, for the last 6 years, I've been putting something in my body that thousands of years ago you would have been pretty much killed for, because it's over 2,000 medical studies on it. But I'm so passionate about it. When I talk to people about it, sometimes I think they're clearly not interested. Which for whatever reason, maybe they're skeptical, maybe they think I'm mad. But let's talk about the future for you, and let's talk about where you're going. Because I mean, I'm sorry, I'll shut up for a second. So, where are you going with this?
With this business?
Yeah,
it's just relentless. It just doesn't stop, and you don't even know yet, but you can just imagine. Just more health, more wealth, bigger groups, more leaders. Everything we're just going to another level.
Sorry, go on. And
yeah, and just showing people that there's another way, because it was pretty obvious to me that I wasn't just here to fit in. And I just remember, like, the first time I joined, I didn't really care. I was going to do this business because I was quite desperate, because I've never had a normal job, and never do I ever want one. Which some people thought was crazy. And when I first got started, some people were telling me, oh, this is illegal and stuff. And I was just like, listen, I'd rather do something illegal than do what most people are doing.
Yeah.
Like,
if it works. And by the way, this isn't illegal.
No, of course, but that was just my, like, I don't care what's going to happen. I know what I'm not going to be doing, and that's conforming. And because there's more to life, I know there's something more for me.
Well, I love working with people who want to do something and make a difference, and you are quite clearly one of those people. And you've also introduced me to so many people as well who have come into my coaching network, if you like. And this business has taken to to countries, and you and I went to South Africa. I mean, who would have believed that? That never would have happened.
You say what was my biggest fears? It was also flying.
Yeah.
But this company's taken me over. I think last year I travelled to over 10
different countries.
15 countries.
And you and I are going back to South Africa in March. Tell us, which was actually when this podcast will go out. Tell us about, because when we went to South Africa, we ended up being in Johannesburg together, and then you went off to Pretoria and you were working with people there. But I saw photographs with you in townships, and it's just amazing. And young people. Tell us about what happened there and what's been happening since you came back.
Well, I just came across people that were desperate, and it was so amazing that I was standing there with an opportunity and with a solution. And it's really difficult to explain the feeling and the emotions, but there were people literally so desperate. And as I said, we had a solution and we made things happen. We had young people, I'm talking like 7 years old, earning more than the average wage, doing our business, taking people from villages into the main city, into the town, and showing them a way to live.
Yeah.
Because people, they're not even getting by out there. I mean, like, this country, it's very easy. Life's just easy, and you can get by. Out there, you can't even get by.
There's poverty there, and there's poverty here, but their poverty is more. It's just more severe.
Yeah.
But what was interesting was, and this was amazing, that those pictures of you with some of those children, they came to us when we were in a different part, and we were in a poor area, and we were showing people the pictures, and it was amazing, just a picture, what that can actually do. And I saw so many hungry people there, not just for food but for opportunities, and I believe those people are everywhere. But maybe they're harder and harder to find, because more and more people are just getting way too comfortable. But personally, I'm still looking for people, and people think it's a bit crazy. They think, why do you do this? You don't need to do this business. No, I do need to do it. I do need to do it because I want to inspire people, I want to help people, and I want to see this continue to grow. But I also need to do it because that's quite hard to put into words, really. It's like, and also the fact people get to work with me. People, if someone wants me to coach them, it's going to cost you a few £1,000s, but I'm not charging you. In fact, it's like, how do I explain that? I'm paying you. No, you're paying whoever it is. I don't actually care.
One of the most, one of the greatest things about this industry is the fact that, little old me who got started with money that I didn't even have is able to be mentored by multiple millionaires, multi-millionaires and multiple millionaires, and guiding me and nurturing me and teaching me success principles for free. And that's, too good to be true.
It is too good to be true. When we look around and we see what's happening in the world, there's so much uncertainty. I was reading that by the year 2033, there'll be no bus drivers. They'll all be just run by machines, and that's just inevitable. So we are becoming more and more expendable. But what is not running out is networks, and we are our net worth. And I can see that you're on a mission to expand your network, and we've got something to share with people that people already do, but we've just got something better to share with them. What would you say to young people out there, or anyone out there that is looking to get involved with a business like this?
Well, I can't recommend it enough, and definitely my biggest passion is the younger generation. I just encourage young people to, one of the best things that I can say is listen more than you speak, because I think I've attracted great mentors because I know that I'm a great student and I love to learn and I love to listen. And if someone in the room is more successful than me, I'll just listen. But there was a point in my life where I just I didn't think that there was anything out there for me. I didn't really think that I fit in anywhere. But over the years, I've seen there is so much out there. There is so much, people talk about money. There's trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of money moving every single day. All you got to do is find a way, but you find a way by looking, and most people aren't actually looking. I always say to people, they probably had 10 life-changing opportunities that have came to them, but they just didn't even allow it to happen, because they said no without even, maybe you look and maybe you don't like what you see, but at least look. And I mean, Don't get me wrong, I've been burnt a few times and gone into a few things and invested in certain things that haven't worked out. But if I hadn't have done that, then I wouldn't have found the things that have now completely transformed my life. So I'll just encourage young people to look.
Someone once said to me, "What's the most expensive land in the world?" And I tried to be clever, and they said, "No, it's the graveyard, because the graveyard is full of people who died, who had great ideas, great intentions, but they never did anything with it." And you're right, there's so much money out there in the world today, just huge amounts of opportunity, but it's just whether we decide to get off our backside, look and do something. Dan, I've really appreciated this opportunity to speak to you. How do people get hold of you? How do they follow you? Not literally follow you, but Instagram, Facebook?
Yeah, Instagram, it's just Dan Jukes _ and then just on Facebook, Dan Jukes. You'll probably see me as a millennial mentor. You'll know it's me. And
go and check Dan out. I would really encourage everyone to go and check Dan out. He is one of the most inspirational people I've had the opportunity to work with, and is a great example of what is possible. And if you want to find out more about what we're talking about, let us know, and we can make it happen. Thanks a lot, Dan. Take care.
Thank you.